any case, the Muslims got defeated, the pagans got defeated. They ran from the army like sheep. At that point, the Muslims committed a fatal mistake. Basically, when the archers on the side of the mountain, they saw the Muslims rushing to the spoils of war, they said, wait a minute, we want a share too. We want to get our hands on those spoils of war. So the attention in that moment shifted from Allah and truly fighting for religion to dunya. And that's the test. Sometimes, my dear brothers and sisters, in the heat of the moment, Allah will suddenly test you. And you quickly shift from a godly intention, a godly cause, to a worldly cause. And that's exactly what happened. They ignored the orders given to them by the Prophet. Their commander, Abdullah ibn Jubair, said, no, what are you doing? The Prophet said, don't move unless I tell you. He was very clear. You forgot what the Prophet said? They're like, look, the Prophet did say that, but he did not mean this situation. The Prophet meant if the battle was ongoing. But come on, we won the battle. Look at them like chickens fleeing from the battlefield. So, that's not what the Prophet meant. They justified. The Prophet told them, look, if the birds come and snatch us from the sky, don't move. He specifically told them, if you see the pagans not fleeing the battlefield, if they reach Mecca, don't move. They clearly disobeyed the Prophet. But their commander, Abdullah ibn Jubair, he was very disappointed. He said, no, I completely disagree. They started quarreling. Some of them said, yes, let's leave. Some of them said, no. In the end, out of the 50 archers, 40 left. 40 came running down from the mountain. 10 Abdullah ibn Jubair and 10 archers remained on the mountain. Abdullah says, I'm not moving from my place. The Prophet told me, you stay here, I'm going to stay here until he gives me permission. Look at the resolve and the iman that he had. By the way, ahadith indicate by Assalamu alaikum, eyewitness accounts on the day of Uhud, that when the Prophet saw them coming down from the mountain, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called them by their name. Oh, so and so, so and so, do not disobey the Prophet. I'm here. Don't come down from the mountain. They did not even look. You know, have you seen someone when they start salivating, they see something? That's just like animals, astaghfirullah. But it's really sad what happened. This is not to, attack any companion of the Prophet. But the Rasul is calling on you. And blindly you go to get the spoils of war. So basically they disobeyed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And 40 of those archers, they came down from that side of the mountain. Khalid ibn al-Walid, he saw. He was instructed, if the pagans get defeated, we're losing the battle, go with 200 horsemen from the back of the mountain and make a surprise attack. And that's exactly what he did. When he reached the side of the mountain, he only saw how many archers? 10. It's easy. 50 can ward them off, but not 10. So they attacked those 10. So their commander, who was Abdullah ibn Jubair, and those 9 with him, they were immediately martyred. All 10 were killed because they were no match. 10 cannot do anything towards 200, especially horsemen. 50, yes, they could have, but not 10. So they killed those 10. They made a surprise attack. And Khalid ibn al-Walid came from the back of the mountain with 200 armed horsemen. And what did he see in front of him? Muslims are running without a sword, without anything. They're running towards the battlefield to collect the spoils of war. So he charged at them from behind, killing them one after the other, slaughtering them on the day of Uhud because of the fatal mistake that those archers committed. So they encircled the Muslims from all sides. When the pagans who were fleeing, they saw Khalid ibn al-Walid making this victory, that boosted their morale, all of them came back to the battlefield. See, initially, Imam Ali's victories pushed them away. But once they saw Khalid killing the Muslims, this gave them a new resolve, a new sense of commitment to the battle. So they picked up their swords, they came to the battle, and they circled Muslims from all sides. They kept killing the companions of the Prophet. 70 of them were killed. 70 companions of Rasulullah were killed on that day. 4 of them from the Muhajireen. Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet. Mus'ab ibn Umair. Uthman ibn Shamas. Abdullah ibn Jahsh. These 4 from the Muhajireen were killed, and the others were from the Ansar who were killed. Now, when this happened, when Khalid ibn al-Walid made this surprise attack, and the pagans came from all directions, and the Muslims felt disoriented because they were caught by surprise, they didn't know what to do, and they saw the death toll rising, what did they do? They fled. They fled the battlefield, except a few. 5, we'll talk about them. One of them was Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Abu Dujana, Sahl ibn Hanif, and a woman that we'll talk about later. They stayed firm defending the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to one hadith, the Prophet looked at Imam Ali. He told him, Ya Ali, ma sana an-nas? What happened to my companions? Where did they go? Imam Ali alayhi salam told him, Kafaru ya Rasulallah, wa wallaw ad-dubur min al-adu wa aslamuk. Ya Rasulallah. Practically they disbelieved. They let you down. They just turned their faces and they started running, and they're submitting you to your enemy. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Imam Ali, why didn't you go with them? The Imam alayhi salam told him, Ya Rasulullah, adhab wa ada'uka ya Rasulullah. I go and I leave you here. Akufrun ba'da iman. I should disbelieve after having faith. Basically, the Prophet was showing what the others did. Otherwise, he's sure of Imam Ali. Then he says, life is not worth living after you, Ya Rasulullah. I'm not going to move from my place until I defend you. Until I die, or Allah gives us victory. I'm not moving from this place. Then the Prophet ﷺ saw an entire division charging at him. So he told him, Oh Ali, defend me from this division, from this group, from this massive army that's coming after me. So the Imam ﷺ, like a very valiant warrior, he kept warding them off and defending the Prophet. Until another division came. Another division. At one point, the Prophet told him, Oh Ali, defend me from those who are coming. Imam Ali said to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, my sword is broken. I don't know what to do now. My own sword is broken. How can I defend you? At that point, the Prophet, if you remember, we talked about this before, he took out his own sword, Dhul Faqar. We talked about the history of Dhul Faqar, how Allah revealed this to Adam first, and the prophets of God would use this against their enemies. This was the special sword of Rasulullah. The Prophet told him, Ali, take my sword, Dhul Faqar, go and kill them. So he started killing them one by one. After that, the Imam alayhi salam, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, as he was fighting fiercely, he sustained 99 injuries. Some hadiths indicate the wound would be so severe, parts of Imam Ali's body would be cut by the sword of the enemies, it would fall on the ground. The hadith from the Imam says Jibra'il would come, he would pick up the flesh of Imam Ali and put it back in its place. Because the Prophet was this close to being killed. And really, Ali ibn Abi Talib, along with just 2 or 3 others, they were fighting with their last breath. So at that point, when the Prophet sees Imam Ali sustaining all these injuries, he raises his hand towards the sky and he says, Nunshiduka ya Rabb ma wa'adtani. Oh Allah, you promised me that in the end we'll be given victory. فَإِنَّكَ إِن شِئْتَ لَمْ تُعْبَدْ. Oh Allah, if we get killed, you won't be worshipped anymore. Who's going to worship you? Then in another dua, the Prophet said, Allahumma inna Muhammadan abduka wa rasuluk. Muhammad is your servant and your messenger. جَعَلْتَ لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهِ لِتَشُدَّ بِهِ عَضُدَهِ. You gave every prophet a wazir, a successor, a helper from his own family to help him. and you have made my wazir Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is the best brother to me. He is the best wazir to me. Oh Allah, you promised that you will send 4,000 angels to support us on this day. Oh Allah, fulfill your promise. Where are the angels? When the Prophet made this dua, he saw a thunder coming from the sky, and then the Prophet looked to the sky, he saw Jibreel with 4,000 angels coming. And Jibreel, as he was descending with 4,000 angels, he said these historical words, La fata illa Ali, wa la sayfa illa dhul faqar. There is no man like Ali, and there is no sword like Dhul Faqar. Then Jibreel tells the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, let me tell you something. We, the angels, have been shocked at the sacrifice of Ali ibn Abi Talib. How he's literally willing to die for you. The Prophet ﷺ says, I'm not surprised, Ya Jibreel. He is from me. Jibreel said, and I am also from you too. When Imam Ali heard that, he cried and he asked Allah, he thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving him such an honor that Jibreel comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and he commends the Prophet on the sacrifices of Ali. The source of this hadith is not only in the book of Al-Kafi that we have, but in Sunni sources. We have Ibn Abi al-Hadid in his commentary on Nahj al-Balagha, in Sharh Nahj al-Balagha, he also mentions this.